Hi guys, as many of you will have seen this location in the past, this was the last place I bought my DS3 Loeb Replica 2. I just finished the carbon side baguettes, the bits that used to be in chrome. I just finished those and brought it here to take a couple of photos. Unfortunately, the day after, while on the way home from work, the car was involved in quite a serious accident, which resulted in a van entering through the driver's door and partially trapping me inside the car. I've just about got around to doing the video for the last farewell to that car. It happened on the 31st July, and today is Sunday the 4th of October, so it's taken me a while to get around to doing that video. I was without the car for an entire month while I waited for the insurance company to pay out. It was written off as a category B car. So now it comes to its replacement. So I was looking around, wasn't quite sure what to go for. I'd had two DS3s in the past. I then went on a full car dealership look around, coming to the sort of middle to end part of August. I went to go and look at a Duke Nismo, but I found it a bit too plain and family orientated. I then went across to Volkswagen to look at the new Polo GTI and the Golf GTI and the Scirocco. None of them really ticked the book. They were a little bit, especially in Milton Keynes, they seemed a bit common. I see quite a few of them, so it didn't quite match what I wanted. And then I went across to Skoda and had a look at the I didn't like the Fabia VRS, but I had an Octavia VRS which was in my price range. Had a look at one of those. Same again, really great car, but for a 23-year-old it just seemed a little bit too sensible, a little bit too adult, and that. So I then went to Mercedes to look at the A45 and quickly realised that was far beyond my budget. Even second-hand ones weren't in the budget. I then went across to Audi and looked at the 5-door S1. Now that was much more in the second-hand market, sort of 6-month-old car, was much more in my price range. Quite a possibility, but the servicing, maintenance and cost in running the 2-litre engine, tax, insurance and the rest just became a little bit excessive. And looking at it, all of the options on the car that I'd want, like Bluetooth and cruise control and possibly sat-nav and that, they were all optional extras on a new car, so I'd have to try and find a used car that had all of those that I wanted, and that was sort of discounted. I decided not to go to Ford and Vauxhall. I'm not a big fan of the ST range or the VXR range personally. I did go to Seat, but they didn't have anything to show me on that. I then went down to Peugeot and thought about getting a 208 GTI, and possibly they had one still for sale, brand new, a 208 GTI 30th anniversary edition, the black and red half contrast. And I was looking at that and I sat inside one and I was like, this is all good, but I prefer the finish in the DS3, which the chassis and that is all based off, and they're built on the same production line, just one car after the other down the final processing end changes. So it's like they're built on the same factory, same production line, but I prefer the fit and finish of the DS3 and some of the outside looks. So then I started hunting around to try and find out what I was going to replace that with, and then work out, well, what DS3 do I go for. I'm pretty happy with them. I couldn't really find anything else that really took my fancy, so shall I start looking at them again? So I went onto the configurator, saw the 1955 special edition, and thought, yeah, that sounds right, it sounds like a good one to have, bit of exclusivity and all that. But then looking at it, it only came with the small petrol, the small diesel engine, which wasn't any good to me. I didn't want to be sort of dropping 40-50 horsepower for my previous car. So I then started looking at DS3 racings. Now, they have had some problems in the past, and to try and find one that hadn't been either messed around with or thrashed around or had a decent warranty and a decent amount of mileage was proving difficult. And then something hit me. I was like, on days like today, why don't I look at a Cabrio? Something a bit different, still based on the same DS3 platform, but means that the force change I was put into was actually a change still. So I looked, spec'd up D Sport Plus, well, the equivalent of D Sport Plus Cabrio, nice colour and that, and spec'ing it up, and it was coming to the 22 sort of £1,000 mark. I was like, that's quite a lot overall, and then I was just about to give up for the day and give it to the end, and then I was looking on Auto Trader at the normal racings, and I'd accidentally hit the filter rather than low to high, high to low, and something appeared slightly above budget that just ticked all the boxes. It was a change, it was still a DS3, but it fitted all of the boxes, all of the things that in the last 18 months, the last car, the parts I'd added, the parts I'd changed, the bits I really liked from the old one was in this model, which was from the factory, and it done just over 1,000 miles. It was 6 months old, and it just ticked all the boxes. So, as I've nattered on for enough, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my new car, the Citroen DS3 Racing Cabrio. So these cars were originally produced in the year 2014. So the first production ones were 2014, and the latter ones to the end of 2014. This particular model was purchased from a Citroen dealer down south, and they kept it for 6 months unregistered to try and sell it new. It then was forced to be registered on the 1st of March this year, and it was used as a not say a demonstrator vehicle, but a vehicle to show off the DS brand. It was used by one of the members' staff for a few months, and put the 1,000 miles on it. And then I came along, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is definitely for me. So to go over the car, so DS3 Racing Cabrio, there were 100 models made. This is number 67 of the 100. Out of that 100, that was a worldwide figure. Only 10 were made in right-hand drive and brought to the UK. Now, my sources tell me that 5 of those 10 were bought by an exporting company to ship them out to China and the Far East, as the racing wasn't bought out there. And the other 5 went to the dealer that I bought the car from. Now, rumour has it that Citroen currently possess 2 of these vehicles for themselves. one as a press car and one as a demonstrator. That's current to sort of September 2015. And there was one that was sold and two of these still in the dealership. One had slightly less miles than the one I purchased, but had a dent in the door. Now, as you can see from this paint here, it isn't a gloss paint, it is very much a satin finish. It's completely smooth, but it's a satin finish, which one part of that is you can't polish or wax the car. Now, someone from the dealer hadn't quite realised that, so when they were taking the dent out, they got out the polish and polished a section about 1.5 inches to 2 inches long on the middle of the passenger door, which by that point couldn't be repaired, couldn't be touched up. The door would have to be resprayed in there. The dealer hadn't managed to get around to doing it and didn't seem in too much of a hurry to get it done. So I decided to go for this one. Slightly more miles on it, but it was in perfect condition, nothing wrong. There's a few little scrapes and scuffs in little places and that, but this car was listed at just shy of £30,000 when it was released new. Now, I managed to take the chunk the dealer was selling it for was £24,000. So without any haggling from my end, we'd already saved the £6,000 of new car depreciation straight off the bat. So after that figure, I managed to persuade the dealer down slightly further, to the point it was much closer to an actual brand new sport cabrio, but I got all the benefits of the racing. So let's go over a few of those now. So the car comes with a lot of real carbon fibre. So we have carbon fibre on the front grille, carbon fibre splitter, wheel arches, side skirts, rear wheel arch, and of course the rear diffuser. Let's continue on the outside. So we have the 18-inch alloys called Vortex with the Citroen Racing brake calipers, Brembo inspired brake caliper in there. An option I put on my car was the LED xenon headlights, as you can see here, and also considering we've still got the LED running lights on the side. The satin grey paintwork. All of the racing cabrios came in this colour. I believe it's called Moon Dust Grey, and we're still waiting for Citroen to actually give me the paint code for this. It comes with this metallic red stripe down the side below the mirror. Coming around to the rear, we get the 3D tail lights, and also the big part of the cabrio, the convertible roof, as you can see here. It comes with the straight cut dual exhaust on the right hand side, the DS3R badge on the boot, and that's pretty much all we can go on the outside. So the roof we have here, as you can see, it folds into 3 optional positions. So you have sunroof mode, which moves it back to here, like so. You can then stop at any point along here, and it will automatically stop here. And then at this point, it will fold down the rear window and slide all the way back, including the 3rd rear brake light, down to the lower section. If you come back to your car and you want to open the boot with the roof down, all you need to do is hit the boot release button. The rear window will rise, as well as the centre rear brake light and the spoiler, like so, and then unlocks the boot. Unlike a traditional boot, this actually lifts almost vertical up where it was, giving you a modest size boot. The boot space is not very different to the traditional hardtop DS3, but unfortunately you do get this smaller area to actually feed things through. You can fit small suitcases through it, so I've got this plastic tub in there at the moment. You can fit that through quite easily, and you've got this chrome strip just to close down. Moving on to the interior. So all DS3 Racing Cabrios came with the Citroen Racing inspired bucket seat, with also similar design on the rear seats. So they are part cloth, part leather and part Alcantara in the centre. Coming onto the door, we've got black leather with red stitching, carbon fibre surround around the door handles, Citroen Racing mats, carbon fibre on the steering wheel. As we jump in, all Cabrio Racings came with the eMyWay SatNav as standard. It's not a bad system, it's just not one of the best. We then have the same matte grey finish on the dash with the contrasting red stripe, carbon centre console, carbon on the wheel, and the gauge cluster that's very similar to all of the standard gauge clusters, but it does go up to a higher top speed of 250 kilometers on this dial. Okay, so that's been, oh, one last thing, it also comes with a limited edition plaque down here. So as it says, it's number 67 of 100 made. So this is my new car. There'll be lots of videos on this car coming soon. So we'll have my trip down to Italy in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully going through Germany and Belgium and France and going to Monaco and all of that over a week. So that'll be good, and there'll be video uploaded hopefully every day from that trip. And that's it. So welcome to my new car. It's very sad to see the old one go. I was very happy with it and didn't really want to have to change, but I feel at least I've made the effort to have an upgrade in the new one. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to all the videos about this car and everything to do with the DS3 in the future. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.